I learned this. I learned this for the first time last night, actually. There are 5 teams that have tied in a preseason game. Now, the preseason is different than the way that the NFL is because in the NFL, once you hit the 4 quarters and both teams are tied, they go to overtime. The overtime period used to be 15 minutes. Now it's 10 minutes. And if nobody scores at the end of 10 minutes, or if both teams kick field goals and no one kind of retaliates or no one does a little redemption, I know I did a little beer pong thing right there, then it's a tie. It ends up being a tie. I always say ties suck, but ties are better than losses. Every single day of the week, a tie is better than a loss. In the preseason, if you tie during regulation, then you're tied. You're just tied. No, there's no coming back from that. They're not going to go into an overtime period. It's just a tie. Okay? Now, this game was a huge coming out for Nolan Smith. I almost said Nolan Carroll there. I'm glad I didn't. Was a coming out game for Nolan Smith because when Nolan Smith was drafted, I really wanted Branch from Alabama, and it looks like he's going to be good for Detroit because I'm like, we need a safety. But when we drafted Nolan Smith, I thought to myself, Marcus Smith. Looks like Marcus Smith. Super tall, super lanky. But this guy knows how to get to the quarterback. This guy really knows how to get after guys and possibly get to the quarterback. So it was very exciting to see him in this game. This was his coming out game. The first game was a Jalen Carter game. The second game was Nolan Smith. He was everywhere. Making plays, getting after the quarterback. Oh, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. That guy, if he doesn't stay in Cleveland, that guy's going to be good. And I feel like I called it because when people were saying that Dorian Thompson, I forget when he was drafted. Was it the 5th round or the 6th round? People were saying that he sucked. I was like, dude could be really good. That dude could be a really good quarterback. Yes, he played under Chip Kelly. Yes, I hate Chip Kelly. Don't like him. But Dorian Thompson-Robinson is a good quarterback, and he's been showing out in this preseason for Cleveland. He was a catch for them. So, I mean, I don't think they intend on starting him this year, but, man, when you see a quarterback like that who's a rookie playing as well as he's been playing in the preseason, he's been the best rookie in the preseason so far. That's my personal opinion. The best rookie of this class that I've seen play in this preseason, he's been dynamite. Absolutely dynamite. The offense didn't really play very well, but the defense did. And you can look at the stat sheet. Like, one of the reasons why the statistics don't tell all is because the Browns were absolutely owning the Eagles in the stat sheet. Stat sheet, time of possession, but at halftime, the score was 8-3. And one of the reasons for that was because the Eagles defense stepped their game up. They stepped their game up. Step your game up. And the Browns had some good plays from the 20 to the 20. But inside the red zone, the Browns could not get it done. They couldn't do it. And the Eagles offense did a really good job, or defense did a really good job stopping the Browns offense. On the first drive, the Browns were about to score, and then Nakobe Dean just punched the ball out, and the Eagles recovered a fumble at the 1-yard line, ended up leading to a Browns safety. But like I always say, a safety is better than allowing a touchdown on defense. Really the biggest anchor for the Eagles on offense. A lot of people blame the Eagles' offensive line, but I watched this game, especially in the first half. It's Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota was the anchor for this team. Missed quite a few wide open receivers. Wasn't a good showing for him. Again, right? First game, he was pedestrian. This game, man, it was almost like he had never stepped on a football field in his whole entire life. It looks bad, right? It seems like This dude has second overall pick syndrome, right? He looks like he's gotten the same thing as like Carson Wentz, who kind of like tailed off in his career. RG3, who kind of just tailed off into his career. I don't know if it's injuries. I don't know what's going on mentally. But Marcus Mariota, it's not a good situation for him. And he should not be the number 2 quarterback for the Eagles. He shouldn't even be on the team at this point. He shouldn't. The interceptions that he threw and the inaccuracy that he had, he shouldn't even be on the team. The guy who played really well, again, was Tanner McKee, the third-string quarterback who played after halftime and actually was able to complete a game-tying drive. When it was Marcus Mariota, the problem was him when he was in. When Tanner McKee was in, the problem was the receivers. The receivers were dropping everything that was being thrown to them. He was lucky to have had 10 completions for 18 attempts and a touchdown and 0 interceptions. The dude played well. Now, again, it's not about wins and losses here, but when you have a third... I'm being straight and quite honest here. I don't think the Eagles have had a third-string quarterback play that well since Nick Foles. Now, I'm not saying that Tanner McKee is Nick Foles, but what I am saying is he's better than Marcus Mariota. And that's as far as I can say. Again, nothing against Marcus Mariota. He's an Oregon Duck. I hate Oregon. I hate Chip Kelly. But it has nothing to do with any of that. I can actually see what's being played and the errant passes that are being thrown. It's not a good situation. The Browns had this one receiver who was just catching everything. There were a few passes that probably should have been intercepted by DTR, but he trusted his receivers, and the Eagles' defensive backs were unable to get to the ball. And a few times it led to big plays. So there was a lot of good and there was a lot of bad in this game. And a lot of things that you can definitely look at and say to yourself, man, there are things that we need to improve on. But I'll say it like this. On defense, there were a lot of good things that I saw. And that was even with the fact that the Browns had like 5/6 of the time of possession as the Eagles did in the first half. And most of that had to do with the inefficiency of Marcus Mariota.